Attention all pharmacy industry professionals. This isn't your grandfather's podcast. This is...
What the hell are you talking about? Our grandfathers never even listened to podcasts. The internet wasn't even around.
Shut your pie hole. My grandfather loves podcasts, and so does my maca.
Your what?
This is the RxRated podcast, part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Did you say maca?
Put the fidget spinners away. Punch in the coordinates for the jump to light speed. And do or do not. There is no try.
What kind of asshat introduction is this?
The podcast dedicated to all the pharmacy professionals in this crazy sector of healthcare.
What was that?
The RxRated podcast.
Dude, seriously? You already said that 3 other times. This is bullshit.
Hello, welcome to the RxRated podcast. This is Dr. Jeffrey Winger. That's J Winger PharmD on Twitter. And with me tonight, as per usual, is Dr. Maurice Shaw. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And back once again is the Rogue Pharmacist. Hello, man.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
And a new guest on the show, Dr. Shawn Bridley. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Yeah, we just want to say happy Thanksgiving and also happy Veterans Day. I forgot to mention that a week ago. So I just want to start the show with an homage to George Carlin, one of my favorite comedians. This is the language you will not be hearing me say tonight. You will not hear me say, I know, right? Or just saying. I will not ask you any questions. I will not sardonically quip, really, or seriously. I for damn sure won't say woke when I mean aware or understand. I will not say tight when I mean cool. I will not say that's my joint right there. I will not use WTF when it's so much more fun to say, what the fuck? I will not end a sentence as if I'm asking a question like, the earth is flat and my job sucks. I will not say dope, bomb, whack, or bitchin'. I will not refer to anyone's baby daddy or my boo. I will not describe someone as a troll, a hater, and accuse them of ghosting or extra. I will not say clap back when I mean wit. I will not tell anyone to slow their roll. I will not say shook when I mean shocked. I will not describe something as savage, gangsta, or street. I will not engage in any sexting. I will not use TFTI when I can sarcastically say thanks for the invite. Or LOL, because I don't know what the hell. Is it laughing out loud or lots of love? I get confused. I will not say lates when I mean later. And I will for damn sure not say OMG. And I will keep the use of the word like to an absolute minimum, only for assemblies only. And if you're one of those people who gets triggered easily and needs a safe space, please go the fuck outside.
Okay.
What do you guys want to talk about? I was going to start with asking Dr. Shaw. He's got a new thing on YouTube where he's asking people to send in videos. What is that all about?
What I'm trying to get people to do is send me some videos of them telling me their hilarious or funny encounter at the pharmacy, and then I'll give my funny take and spin on it, and if I was them, what I would have done. So you can send me those videos to doctorofcomedy@gmail.com, or it could just be audio, because I know some people are probably scared they're going to get fired.
Have you received any yet?
I received 2 audio.
Cool. Were they good?
Yeah, they're pretty good. One guy was just saying how he got there early, and the guy was just staring at him through the window like a zoo animal the whole time because he wouldn't open the pharmacy early.
Well, speaking of that,
I interpret it as a zoo animal when they stare at you through the glass. Like
there was I think the publication is called Evening Times. It's in the UK, and the title of the article said, "Man jailed for creepily staring at Glasgow pharmacy assistant through the window." And this is in Scotland. And the guy got 70 days in prison for just staring at the pharmacy staff through the window. I think it'd be funny if he said, "I regret nothing."
Well, that's awesome. I have about 100 people in jail a week.
Yeah. host.
Rogue, how is the battle against the peanut butter and marmalades going?
Oh, it's getting interesting. So I don't know if you paid attention to the FTC meeting that they had a couple weeks ago in Washington, D.C. We had half a dozen people that went to that meeting, and they had a couple sessions, and one was specifically on PBM, because the whole thing was about understanding competition in drug pricing, or the drug market in America. Basically, why do drugs cost so much is kind of the overall theme. And so we thought it would be kind of fun, since we're under gag orders by the PBMs, to discuss better pricing for patients if, things are cheaper than their copays. We can't tell them that. And, or certainly they do not want us talking to their, quote, their clients, the plan sponsors, about things, because that, puts their business at risk because if the plan sponsors actually knew what they were reimbursing us and what they're actually getting charged, they would be irate. So we actually had these little headbands that we had, and every time the PBM lobbyist spoke, we put them on, so, signifying that we are gagged, and that's hence one of the issues about drug pricing. So we kind of put that picture out, and all of our faces are, kind of obscured because, we're paranoid that they're going to say something about us. And one lady came up after all that and said, she didn't appreciate us doing that, and she worked for the PBMs, and we couldn't think fast enough, but we want to say, well, we don't kind of appreciate, we certainly don't appreciate how we're having to deal with things, on an everyday basis while y'all are making a gob of money. So it's very, we felt like that day was a big win, because we did get noticed by a lot of the decision makers in the audience. They were questioning, why we were there doing that. So onward and upward, one little battle at a time.
Well, Dr. Bridley is a PBM pharmacist. What are your thoughts on this whole fiasco with the PBMs and Express Scripts and DIR fees and all this stuff that's going clawbacks?
Here's the thing. I work for them, but I'm a pharmacist just like any other pharmacist, and I agree with the independents. I agree with the pharmacists. However, my position, I'm a clinical reviewer, so I review prior authorization requests. I am in no way involved with the negotiations or anything having to do with the money. I just get paid to tell you yes or no, we're going to cover this drug. So I am on the side of the pharmacists when it comes to them being screwed over with these exorbitant fees. I agree. We should be upset.
Does anyone know what the latest is with because I remember reading not too long ago that Anthem was suing Express Scripts, alleging that they overcharged for its pharmacy services by failing to pass on savings that it obtained through drug price negotiations. Anybody know what the latest with that is?
So, okay, the latest on that is apparently Anthem went to Optum to kind of sort of bid out, in a sense, to get a sense from them what things would cost without really bidding them out. So Anthem gave them prices. So now, Optum gave Anthem prices. So now they're getting dragged in that suit. But basically, Anthem is partnered now with CVS Caremark to be the PBM, but the lawsuit is still ongoing. And I think they found out through the pricing with Optum. Certainly, Optum would have been cheaper, but we know how Optum is making things cheaper. They're just charging the copays. They're making the money from the patients and bumping up the copays higher than they would have had if versus like cash prices, basically. So it's kind of getting interesting because even though they're all on the same side, the PBMs, I think they're all going to figure out that they're going to start pointing the finger at each other. Oh no, they're the bad guy. Oh no, they're the bad guy. So I think it's going to get very interesting.
What a mess. And then you got CVS Health buying Aetna, right? So the nation's largest pharmacy chain and the third largest health insurer getting together for, I think the price tag was $66 billion. And that's got people concerned because CVS already owns one of the largest PBMs in the country, CVS Caremark, which you mentioned. And this will lead to unprecedented control over a large part of the pharmacy business. What do you guys feel about that?
Were y'all surprised that CVS was bigger than Aetna? I mean, that was a shocker to me. I guess I wasn't paying attention, but I get, CVS just having the retail stores is one thing, but then having the PBM, that's like two major companies together, it's just surprising that they're even in a position to buy a large health insurer. I would have thought it would have been the other way around.
And if the deal goes through, CVS Health will control a pharmacy, a PBM, and an insurer, basically controlling all the steps from drug manufacturer to consumer.
And that's not right. I don't see where anything positive can come out of that for the consumer. Not for pharmacists either, in a way, especially not independent pharmacies. So,
well, I think that we've now shed light on how these formularies now are being structured. Isn't drug A is actually clinically better than drug B? It's that drug A gives us a better rebate than drug B. And I mean, and understanding that, maybe there's things you could just completely swap out back and forth, but still. So who's actually benefiting in these rebates from the manufacturers to the PBMs? It's the PBM. It's not the end consumer. It's not necessarily the plan sponsor, but it's them. So, but they're supposed to share some of that with the health insurer. So now they're the PBM, the health insurer, and the retail. I wouldn't trust that whole system. If I were a patient, consumer, or insured person, I would be very hesitant to, buy a policy that they controlled the whole kit and caboodle.
And some of these mergers were challenged by the DOJ from what I read, Aetna and Humana, Cigna and Anthem, Walgreens and Rite Aid. I think all those failed or were withdrawn because the question is a merger between a buyer and its supplier good for consumers? And I guess the DOJ didn't think in those cases it was.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the PBMs with the FTC, I think. Everything that, if you guys, we just all established that you all are a heck of a lot younger than I am. You probably don't even remember before Express Scripts was, Express Scripts and Medco before they were, each separate. And then CVS didn't own Caremark and Caremark owned PCS anyway. Everything that those two mergers, they told the FTC they wouldn't do, they are doing. So it's like the FTC kind of is part of the problem with that, and the higher drug pricing is because they allowed those mergers. So maybe they're kind of dialing back their more liberal views on the merger situation. I don't know, but they certainly didn't help in the pharmacy realm anyway, in my opinion.
I think too, because if you're a person who has Aetna insurance and now Aetna and CVS merge, there's going to be incentives for you. I might want to use Winn-Dixie to fill my prescriptions, but now there's kind of this silent, I don't even want to call it an incentive, but you're going to be kind of pushed and told where to fill your prescriptions in a way, because they're going to have these incentives in place that say, hey, you need to fill at CVS, or we're going to charge you a higher copay, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do something else. We're going to offer this to the people filling at CVS and not to you because you want to go fill at Publix or something. So this is a way for them to kind of monopolize both retail pharmacy and the PBM world.
Absolutely. They're doing that now. Yeah. I mean, all the people with Caremark, if the client chooses, even though half the time I don't think the client really knows what's going on because the broker basically, tells them what to do. So right now, the maintenance medications, they'll make you go, if you want to do retail, you could do that, but you have to go to CVS. So you can do 90-day supply, but it's going to be at CVS.
Yeah, well, this happened a lot of my job. A lot of my patients come up to me. I got a letter saying if I use you guys, it's going to be more expensive. And I just say, well, it's nice to know you. I guess I'll be transferring in January.
Okay, so what's the thoughts on the Amazon PBM deal too? Because that's another issue. Everybody's trying to break into the PBM business because obviously it's a lot of money in it. And Amazon is a company that's known for easing the delivery of whatever it is you're getting. So in this case, it would be easing the delivery of medications. So it's obvious that they're getting into the PBM to kind of control something. But I don't know how other pharmacists feel about the possibility that Amazon would come in and take over a significant market share.
Dr. Shaw, did you have something on drones?
Yeah, I saw this thing where Amazon was going to be using drones, and I was wondering if they were going to have drones to drop off people's prescriptions.
HIPAA violation. How? That doesn't. I mean, I'm sure the technology can be worked out, but I see so many things that can go wrong.
What were you going to say, Rogue?
Well, the funny thing to me about this whole thing, and I was talking to somebody that called me about getting involved with a telemedicine company and, being the pharmacy for their local thing. And they were all, oh yeah, Amazon. I said, well, first of all, who really likes mail order? Almost nobody. So sure, maybe Amazon can do a better mail order than the mail orders now. But the only reason that you would even go mail order is because you're forced to from the PBM. So therefore, like the doctor just said, they've got to become a PBM. And when you become a PBM, it's a long sales cycle. First of all, you got to develop relationships with pharma to get the rebates. Basically, they're going to become what everybody already hates, if that's the model that they're going for. My hope is they'll just basically become a wholesaler. If they become a wholesaler, flatten the prices for all pharmacies, including independents, grocery stores, whoever. Hey, Rogue 500 number 100 is XYZ price. Buy it. Or no rebates, money gain. That would certainly disrupt things. Easy and quickly, but I don't know. I don't see them getting in the retail game fast, because that would take a long time. Even if they partnered or put pharmacies inside of Whole Foods or partnered with, I don't know, another grocery chain or somebody, and I think that would take a long time too. And I don't see anything that they're going to do that's going to be different, because if the majority of the prescriptions are paid for with other people's money, 90%, are paid by third party, unless you're the PBM, you have the PBM portion, there's really not much you can do to change things. It was funny, CVS on their conference call, they even said that when they gave patients the option to do, okay, we forced you to do mail, now guess what? You could do mail and get the better copay for 90 days, or you could go retail, of course, at their stores. 50% of the patients, like overnight, the next refill went back to, their retail store. Yep. So, I mean, the fact that they even said that in the conference call, to me, was kind of maybe hey, guess what, Amazon, this is not going to be as easy as you think, because they've never really said that before that I've heard. It's all been, oh yeah, mail order's fine, everybody likes it, we'll save you money, blah, blah, blah. But they really admitted, just with that statement, that mail order is not favored by patients whatsoever. They would prefer to, which is nice for us pharmacists out here, doing the grunt work and actually talking to people and helping them on a daily basis. I mean, people actually like, picking up their prescriptions and talking to a person.
Right.
I read something interesting where they said for customers and shareholders, one monopoly is actually better than two. So like when two separate firms with market power, say Express Scripts and Anthem, occupy successive positions in an industry value chain, both will try to earn a profit margin over their costs. And as a result, they increase prices to consumers more so than if it was just one firm controlling everything. Does that make any sense?
Interesting. I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah, one monopoly better than two. That was what I read. So I don't know. It's all so convoluted.
But what about like
I was going to say, didn't Amazon buy Whole Foods?
Mm-hmm.
You think they'd probably put some pharmacies in Whole Foods?
They could.
Now that would be nice. I would like that. But
even Whole Foods, there's not a lot of Whole Foods.
Right.
I mean, there's just, it's not a big presence like, Walgreens, CVS, or even Walmart, basically.
Maybe they could buy Rite Aid or something.
There you go.
But there's this saying that there are riches and niches, and Whole Foods has their niche. I shop there. There's one near me, Turkey Lake. And I mean, they have the consumers that are spending the money. So they may not be going for a large market share. They may just be going and targeting their niche. And to be honest, that there may be money in that. They may not be wanting to compete with the mass retailers.
A lady called me yesterday and goes, do you guys have gluten-free prednisone? Now I'm going to just tell her to go to the pharmacy at Whole Foods.
Compound that. We can make that happen.
Go to the Whole Foods pharmacy. I'm sure they got gluten-free prednisone.
Speaking of that, did you hear that only 1 in 10 Americans eat enough fruits and vegetables? This was a study by the CDC. 1 out of 10. That's pretty big. So 12% of Americans, they rounded up, I guess, eat a minimum of the daily fruit recommendation, which is 1.5 to 2 cups a day, and only 9% meet the minimal vegetable requirements, which is, I think, 2 to 3 cups per day. So, yeah.
I can't be
wow.
perfect. I mean, I can't be perfect. I read something that was saying that beets, the vegetable beets, can solve most of what's going on that's wrong with your body. And I'm like, well, they can all stay wrong. Shit, I'm not eating that. It's okay. It can stay wrong.
It's like Iron Man drinking that green goo in the second movie to keep his heart. Yeah, like
I'm okay. That's fine. I will eat the 90% who does not. No. Wine. I have the proper intake of fruits through wine, I guess. Grapes.
Here's your grape intake. Yep, there you go. It's a fruit.
I had a guy, he asked me about, he read something about cinnamon stabilizing blood sugars. And so I was just, telling him my opinion about it. So then he was like, yeah, I'll get these. And he puts like 2 cinnamon rolls on the counter. I said, cinnamon, not cinnamon rolls. I don't even know how much cinnamon is actually in the cinnamon.
That's one of those situations where a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. What do you guys, any opinions on the new guidelines for blood pressure? So I guess it was 140 over 90 and now it's 130 over 80. So 30 million new people suddenly have high blood pressure, which is like now it's half of United States adults have high blood pressure. And the thing is that, okay, so you have this huge increase because they changed the guidelines. So 14% increase, but of those 14%, only 2% of these new people actually need medication. So the numbers changed, but the situation is basically the same.
The same, because with lifestyle modifications and all these different things, even if you're diagnosed with high blood pressure, you don't necessarily go to medication first. So,
Oh, you had mentioned a funny story about flu shots and people getting fired for not administering them. What was that?
My mom was reading that to me at Thanksgiving today, saying that 50 employees at some hospital, I think in the Midwest, not sure which one, but they were fired because they refused to get a flu shot. And of course, the hospital's stance is, well, this is preventing our patients from getting sick. And this is something that should be required. But I was telling my mom, I could see a civil suit coming from this because I don't see where they can legally do that. I don't want to get a flu shot, so I can't come to work because it's in your policy to make me get this flu shot. On the other hand, I do know that in the hospital, you do have to get the TB tests and all those things. So I just don't know how you're going to get away with this. I can see some backlash. Don't know which way it would go. But I just feel like it's kind of strange that all of a sudden, more and more, this is not the only hospital. There are more hospitals that are starting to require that their staff all be immunized.
That's a massive number, though. 50 in one hospital?
People. Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they probably thought when they refused, like, oh, they're not going to get rid of that many people. Well, they did. So it remains to be seen what's going to come of this. And as a person who I may get it, I may not. I don't have any aversions to taking the flu shot. If I'm available and I'm shopping and I want to stop by the pharmacy and get one, I get it. If not, fine. But it's just not something that I say every single year that I do. We offer it. My company offers it. I don't always get it. But I feel like that is my personal choice. And I feel like it should not have anything to do with my employment.
I'm the same way. I'm
going to do it.
I'm middle-aged and I've never had a flu shot. I'm not against it. I just never felt the need for one.
Right.
I don't get sick very often.
I'm indifferent. And to be honest, we can go into all the You mentioned the word woke earlier. We can go into all the woke theories about why the government wants us to get these shots and this and that. Oh, I can talk about that all day, but for me, it's just a matter of I don't feel like doing it. Maybe not. I might. I've had the flu once in my life, and it was hell. I would rather. It was absolute hell. I was a child at that time, but I've not had it since, and so I don't feel like any urgency to get it. And I understand that hospitals are in a position that they want to protect their patients, but you don't make the patients leave the hospital and get a flu shot. You ask them if they want that and the pneumococcal shot, but you don't make them get it. So don't make your employees get it. It may be against their religion or something. Who knows?
Kind of reminds me of a story. There was a 30-year-old nurse that was fired because she said that a patient who was in for a procedure had hepatitis C, and she said it out loud where other patients heard it. Oh. And, HIPAA. So she got canned. She was what they call an at-will employee, which means you can basically be fired for almost anything.
Right.
She tried to sue the hospital. Court dismissed the wrongful term claim. But how could that happen? I mean, that would mean the world is insane. She's just telling the other staff, this patient has hepatitis C, put your gloves on. But because someone might have overheard it, fired. I mean, it just seems brutal to me.
I think, too, a lot of people are confused about what, and maybe not in that instance, but you hear HIPAA so much, HIPAA, everything in HIPAA.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm going through something personally where people really don't understand HIPAA. And it's like everybody wants to, just because I'm a pharmacist and I say something, I didn't violate HIPAA. I have no HIPAA relationship to you. So that couldn't have been a HIPAA violation, but everything and nothing these days is a violation of something, allegedly, until you go to court and they laugh at you. But hey.
What do you guys think of the HIPAA law? I see it as such a tremendous pain in the ass.
I agree. I absolutely
I think it's taken our whole discretional objectives away. If Mrs. Smith calls up and says, okay, I need my husband's blood pressure, his cholesterol. We just go ahead and do it. We don't say, oh, no.
Right.
People that don't have a form or anything that Mr. Smith has signed that says Mrs. Smith. Now, it gets real dicey when Mrs. Smith doesn't know that Mr. Smith has Viagra. So that gets kind of funny. And then his girlfriend calls up for the refill. So you have to really kind of know the basis.
I seriously had an issue like that with Valtrex and an HIV medication. Actually, there was this guy when I was working in supermarket retail. I've known this person since middle school, and his girlfriend would usually come in and pick up her birth control and some other medications, but he wasn't apparently aware of some of the things that she was getting. So at that time, he always picks up prescriptions for her. There was no reason for me to deny it. But when it came time to say, hey, what is this for? I couldn't answer that. Hey, go home and talk to her. But I can see, for that reason, I can see why it's valid and what type of issues may arise. But like you said before, if you have a husband and a wife coming in, I don't see a reason why I need to make the either party sign the disclosure or whatever the release form to be able to exchange information between the two. But
it's funny. I had a gentleman call the pharmacy and he said, I want to know what was purchased with my credit card on this date. So I had the store manager look it up, and it was Plan B and lube. Ooh. So his guy says, okay. About an hour later, this woman calls me, you violated my HIPAA rights.
You didn't have a prescription for the Plan B, honey. So no.
Right. Yep. You told my ex-husband that I bought Plan B and lube on his card. Are you stupid? I'm like, you used your husband's card, your ex-husband's card to buy Plan B and lube? Are you stupid? It's not HIPAA. It was his card. He called, so we told him. But she's telling me I violated HIPAA, and I'm like, all right, I gotta go. We do 600 scripts a day. I don't have time for this.
It's amazing. It's amazing how lay people can tell us what is and is not a violation of this and that. They know so much and so little. I'm like, do you know how ridiculous you sound?
Yep. Well said. It's such a tremendous pain. Anyway, so speaking of, you said supermarket retail. This doesn't fall under that, but there was a CVS employee who, this was reported in the Chicago Tribune. CVS employee stole $1 million lottery ticket. The employee checked the ticket, but handed back a different one to the customer. And I'm thinking, how could you think you could get away with that? That's more obvious than.
Hey man, for $1 million, it's worth a shot. I'm not even gonna lie. Like for $1 million, I'd give it a try.
I just found it remarkable. What else is going on?
Flu shots.
You must be flu shotted out. You've been.
He gives shit tons of them.
we did. I think my store's super busy. I think we sold 680 on Monday and Tuesday. I did like over 990-day scripts on top of like close to 100 flu shots. So I'm just over flu season.
Wow.
There was a pharmacy that was ordered to repay nearly $1 million to Medicaid. Did you hear about this, Rogue? It was an independent community pharmacy busted in a Medicare fraud investigation. It's called Madison Avenue Pharmacy in Lakewood, New Jersey, of course.
I saw that. And, I'm not sticking up for the people that fraudulently bill. I think they should be punished, and I think they should. I think it's horrible, and it's unethical. It's illegal. Don't do it. But when a big corporation does it, they do these things. It's called a corporate integrity agreement. They have a whole different set of standards when you're a big company. It's very unfair because one little thing that will come out like that and they'll say, oh, all independents are shady. It's like, no, we're really not. Actually, if you take the amount that is done in all the stores of all the, corporate chains, it's probably more heavily weighted on the corporate chains, but they don't ever really get in that much trouble because they just pay the fine through the little corporate integrity agreement. That pharmacy will probably never, ever have a government ability to bill insurance again, ever, and they'll probably all their contracts change. So I think they're not going to be survive because of that. But if they were doing something, they should be punished. But that's unfortunately it's not. It's the rules are different for the small independents and versus the chains because they could just pay the fine and be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I read that. I'm thinking smooth move, Metamucil. Congrats, you horrible, but so. Wow.
But some of us talk
where people get how much whistleblowers make, and I was like, man, I'm trying to be a whistleblower.
Be a whistleblower. We need more. Do it. If you know something wrong. But some of us talk sometimes, and we laugh because I wouldn't even know how to be fraudulent. I'm telling the truth, and I feel guilty sometimes. I just couldn't do it. But it's like if you're gonna do it big. Just $1 million. That was, what did they get really? Especially in New Jersey, $1 million doesn't go very far in New Jersey. So if you're going to fraudulently bill, at least do it for, I don't know, $10 or $15 million and then be done. Make it worth your while.
I got one more article to discuss, and then we'll get into dating. This is hilarious. Have you heard of a Sarco capsule? SARCO. It's a Sarco capsule. This was invented in Australia by a guy named Nitschke, which figures he and an engineer came up with this. They live in the Netherlands, and basically a Sarco capsule is a suicide booth. And Australia's top euthanasia activists came up with this. I'm thinking, seriously, do you have brain damage? So after taking an online questionnaire, people are provided a 4-digit access code, and at the push of a button, the pod will decrease oxygen with the use of liquid nitrogen, and bang, you're dead in a few minutes. Can you believe this shit?
Whoa.
The popularity of this is gaining momentum like Jonah Hill snowboarding down a double black diamond trail. But if you ever seen the cartoon Futurama, they actually came up with this shit years ago. It's called a suicide booth, but now we have them now.
I need one at work because some days I'll just hop in.
Wow. It's insane. I can't believe it. We're supposed to be inventing shit to save lives, not end them.
Uh-huh.
I just thought that was remarkable. So anyway, I have no wife or kids that I know of. And, I'm generally fearful of commitment. So I figure I'll die alone one day. But I'd love to meet a lady who could make me reevaluate, but I doubt she exists. When it comes to men, most of the women I've come into contact with, no pun intended, seem to prefer the strong solvent type. And it's not too hard to find. Just open your wallet and there she is. I am dating a woman right now who is the cream in my coffee, as long as I have plenty of sugar. And her motto is think mink. She may get married someday. She's just waiting for the right amount to come along. So what she likes about me is my fiscal fitness. That's it. I'm done. What do you guys think about dating?
Let's talk about it, because for me, I'm single as well. And I feel like men are out looking for the money too. So I feel as women, we're always pegged as the gold diggers. But in my experiences as of late, men are looking for money too. I have gotten to the point where I don't even tell people what I do. And it's not even that pharmacists make a whole lot of damn money, but compared to the rest of the United States, apparently we do. And men are looking for money too. You're not the only one having that problem.
They're looking for a sugar mama.
They're looking for a sugar mama, and I don't have the sugar. Listen, I am looking for my equal. I'm not even looking for someone with significant more than I have. I just want somebody that does not live with another woman or their mother. That's all I want. That's it. It's that. Apparently, I found out this summer that's too much to ask.
Well, that's hard to believe. How many people live where you live? How many millions of people live there?
I have no idea. I don't even know.
It's hard to believe you can't find one person in a town of millions of people.
And you know what's so strange? I typically, and that's something that I'm going to change. I don't even date in my city. I got away from that a while ago. The last couple of people I've dated have lived in other cities, a couple of hours away. So that's part of the problem.
Wow.
But I think I'm pretty attractive. I'm a cool chick.
I've seen your picture. I'm surprised you're having any trouble at all. Jesus.
I think my problem is that I have a bit of an edge, and I am not your stuffy, nerdy pharmacist. So I'm not interested in the clean cut, boring, in my opinion. I don't want somebody who is necessarily a pharmacist or a doctor or this or that. It's not about money for me. I tend to go for guys with tattoos and all these different things, and they don't measure up to me intellectually or professionally. But they're fun. And I have to grow the fuck up.
Well, I've talked to women, beautiful pharmacists who just for some reason refuse to date other pharmacists.
I do. I'm one of those. of those.
Why? What is that about?
Okay, so I actually the guy that I dated, that he's a pharmacist now. We were in pharmacy school together. Found out that he had a whole other girlfriend that he ended up marrying after pharmacy school. The other pharmacists that I've dated a couple. They are boring. I'm sorry. We can be some of the most stiff people. And I like to tell people all the time that I am as ignorant as I am intelligent. I like to have fun. A lot of pharmacists that I meet are just boring. So, and I tell people too that yes, I'm a pharmacist, but I like to more so think of myself as a laid back, regular person with a pharmacy degree. So I'm not defined by being a pharmacist. So please don't expect to meet me and expect me to talk about pharmacy or conduct. I don't know how a pharmacist is supposed to act, but apparently other people think they act a certain way and I don't act like that. So what you get may be different than what you expect, because I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get this straight-laced cookie cutter person. You're going to get Shawn. And Shawn doesn't necessarily do everything in the way that a stiff, boring pharmacist does it.
Rogue, any thoughts?
Even though I'm a pharmacist, I still go to the club and twerk it. That's what I heard.
I'm not a club person, but I go to a lounge or something, and I have been told that I'm way more edgy than they expect me to be. Because if you were to look stuff up online or whatever and see what I'm into, you would think you were getting this really, really soft, demure person. You get this crazy person. I'm joking. I'm not crazy, but I have a lot more. I have a lot more personality, maybe too much for some people, than people expect. And it's not even so much that with me, like I said, I'm finding that a lot of men are looking to be taken care of by women these days. Like your whole poem and everything, it applies to women too. Anybody making six figures, to be honest, even though to us, we may not feel like we make a whole lot of money, to the majority of people, we do quite well for ourselves. So I feel like people are looking to capitalize on that, especially if they don't have a whole lot going on.
What I've noticed about our profession, and maybe doctors too, is I really honestly do not know a pharmacist that hasn't had more than not codependent relationships.
Yes.
We're caretakers. So that in itself lends to not very good relationships that don't, obviously sustain, because it's a not sustainable thing. So I'm older than you guys. So I've been through 2 marriages, 2 divorces, and I'm with a guy now that we've been together longer than the other 2 marriages combined. But, I fell into that trap, and I see my colleagues, almost every one of them, and they either wised up or they're still in it. And it's just the nature of kind of the compassion and, how we are, I think, and how our profession lends itself to be. So I would, since I'm older, to mentor you all to say, don't fall into that trap. And it's okay to say, you know what, I do make a nice living, and guess what? You should too. Or you should actually have a job or have some ambition to do something. Because even if you don't think that it matters, eventually it's going to matter.
Absolutely.
So then you get, and I wouldn't even worry about somebody saying, well, you're just looking for money. Well, guess what? You don't go to Publix and just on your looks get groceries, right? And don't they expect you to kind of pay for those? So money is just a kind of a part of things. So anyway, that would be my advice to you guys. Do you guys date online?
I do, actually. I'm not averse to it. I have, what is that? It's one account. I don't go in there a whole lot. The one where you swipe. I can't.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Bumble?
No, I looked at that one and I didn't, something about it. It's called Tinder. I have met one person off of Tinder, and he and I are good friends. He's a pharmacy technician, actually. So he's probably going to be listening to this. But no offense to him, great guy, but he's a pharmacy technician. And I feel like I have done my work. I've done my work to get to where I am. I was a pharmacist at 24 years old. I've done it. I don't feel like it's too much for me to ask someone to have similar ambitions and careers and things of that nature. I find that a lot of us are marrying down, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking down on a person, but I just want somebody who is where I am. And I feel like a lot of people try to make me feel like I'm asking too much by saying, hey, I did this, and this. Hey, what are you doing in your profession? Doesn't have to be pharmacy, that you're as passionate or ambitious about. Because I don't see myself being married to my pharmacy technician. That's my personal preference.
What if he was a senior tech? No, I'm just joking.
Are you being serious? Hey, he can, and when I opened my pharmacy, I told him he could be my technician now.
That sounds like trouble.
He could be my technician. But I mean, I seriously, I'm at a point where I have 2 kids. Those relationships obviously didn't work out, bless their fathers. But I am in a space where I would love to be married to my equal. That is it. I'm not asking for him to be some millionaire. I just want him to be established. And again, let me reiterate, I want him to be established and completely not living with another woman or his mother. That's it.
Hey, $1 million doesn't go as far as it used to.
That's true. I heard. I heard. I'm not there yet, but I heard.
When I finished my pharmacy residency, people always used to say, "Why do you live with your mom?" And I'm like, "Well, Because once I put the clothes in the washing machine, they ended up folding.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Let me clarify that. I think that's completely different, though. For you, it's a choice as opposed to something that you have to do because you don't have the means. So let me put that out there and apologize and say I don't mean everybody that lives with their mom is a bum. It's just been in my experience that the guys that either live with their mom or they might even be living with some other woman that doesn't know that they're pretending to be single. They are living off of women, whether it be their mother or another woman. And then they come and they meet me and they say, hey, you make good money. I can live off you next. No hell. Because I'm expecting bills to be paid. As a matter of fact, Netflix just sent me an email. They're going up $10.99. You got to be able to cover something. I need you to be able to do something.
So do you pay for dates at all ever?
I do actually. And I pay don't. Okay. I do. Because you know what? I have no problem when I am with a man. I'm very much okay with showing you that I have a mutual interest in you. So, hey, if I got it, I got it. But damn.
See, I think that sets you up for how it's going to be. I learned the hard way.
Yeah,
my girlfriends told me, do not even bring your purse. Don't reach for that wallet. Have enough money for a cab home or whatever, but don't you even dare, because I just thought it was no big deal. I had money, so whatever. But I kind of, the older I get, the more I see the point. And you know,
the last guy that I dated, he was 10 years older than me, believe it or not. And come to find out, he's running around telling people he used, which I don't believe that to be true, but he's heard. So he's running around telling people he used me for money and this and that. And I'm like, dude, do you realize how bad that makes you look? You're making you're making me look like I am this mogul in some senses, because I actually had another guy, a guy that knows both of us, that passed that along to me. And I'm like, really? He said that? It's like, yeah. So I recognize now that is exactly what I'm doing, when I thought it was just me showing interest. Like, I appreciate you. So here, let me cover this meal, or let's go here and let me plan this date. That's the type of person that I am. But as you mentioned before, as a pharmacist, we're nurturers. I'm an empath. Like, I'm very much into taking care. I'm a mother. I'm into taking care of my house. I like to cook. I like to make sure everything is okay. I call myself the Black Martha Stewart. That is how I am. But don't take advantage of it, because you're going to see a side of me that you don't want to see. Martha did jail time. Yeah, I'm with her. She's edgy. She has an edge. I deal with her. I like it. But, you know.
But she lost weight. She looked good when she came out with that poncho and everything. Go Martha. Free Martha.
Exactly.
50 cents or something.
And she didn't do anything that we can get into it. She didn't do anything that some of these male bigwigs didn't do. But hey.
Well, listen, let's not get into that. But before we close out, since it's Thanksgiving, I thought we should probably say what we're thankful for. So I'll go first and give you guys a chance to think about it. I am thankful for Macallan Scotch whiskey. I am thankful for Padron cigars. Whoever invented dirty martinis and fermentation in general. I am thankful for Prince music, the founding fathers, the USA, the troops, and my family. Who's next?
I'm thankful for Shih Tzus and however they came to be. I'm thankful for Steve Jobs and the technology that he improved in our society, and the beautiful sunsets, what I see daily where I live.
I should have said Golden Labs, because I have a Golden Lab that I love more than almost anything. So you said Shih Tzu. Yes, I love Golden Labs as well.
I'm thankful that my store was closed today.
I am thankful for my two beautiful children and the Bombay Sapphire Gin that gets me through being their mother sometimes. No, I'm very thankful for my family and my support system in general. I'm thankful for my career as a pharmacist that's given me so many great opportunities, like being on this show and laughing with you guys. And Gin. I like the gin.
And you are welcome back anytime. It's been a pleasure. You guys have been great. And with that, we will bid adieu. Au revoir. Anybody want to say goodbye?
Deuces.
Everybody, night, night.
And until next time, we'll see you then.
Love to eat turkey. Love to eat turkey. Oh, I love you. Love to eat turkey, 'cause it's good. Love to eat turkey like a good boy should, 'cause it's turkey to eat. So good. That clapping's messing my head up, man. I appreciate it, but I was trying to think of the next line. I'm like, all I hear is clapping. Here we go. Thanks anyways. Turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and turkey lurkey dap. I eat that turkey, then I take a nap. Thanksgiving is a special night. Jimmy Walker used to say dynamite. That's right. Turkey with gravy and cranberry. Can't believe the Mets traded Darryl Strawberry. Turkey for you and turkey for me. Can't believe Tyson gave that girl VD. White meat, dark meat, you just can't lose. I fell off my moped and I got a bruise. Turkey in the oven and the buns in the toaster. I'll never take down my Cheryl Teagues poster. Wrap the turkey up in aluminum foil. My brother likes to masturbate with baby oil. Turkey and sweet potato pie. Sammy Davis Jr. only had one eye. Oh, turkey for the girls and turkey for the boys. My favorite kind of pants are corduroys. Gobble, gobble, goo, and gobble, gobble, giggle. I wish turkey only cost a nickel. Oh, I love turkey on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Oh, thank you.